Spangled banner yet wave over land of the free and the home of the brave.
I tell you, an amazing talent. Amazing talent. Thank you very much. And now we'll have a resolution about Mount Olive Baptist Church. And while Ms. Meadows is coming forward, Sheriff Amerson's church was Mount Olive.
Good morning. Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, 410 Cedar Street, Tuskegee, Alabama. Dr. John H. Curry, Jr., pastor. Tribute, Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson. Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson was a dedicated member of the Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church. Sheriff Amerson was most professional, conscientious, and concerned for the safety and welfare of all citizens. Sheriff Amerson did not seek public office for fame, fortune, or glory, or to have his name recorded into an annal of history. In his own words, in a speech made to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference following his election to office in 1967, and I quote, "As sheriff, I pledge hatred towards no man, as well as fair and impartial law enforcement for black and white alike." Sheriff Amerson valiantly served Macon County from 1967 until 1987. During his tenure as Macon County Sheriff, he saw some of the country's most turbulent days for American race relations. However, Sheriff Amerson's election and subsequently re-election as the first black sheriff in the South since Reconstruction paved the way for other black leaders to ascend to this office in the Deep South. Mount Olive Baptist Church is indeed proud of Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson and his willingness of putting his life on the line in protecting and serving all humankind. Done this 20th day of January 2022, respectfully submitted, Deacon Charlie E. Hardy, Chair, Church Leadership Ministry, Deacon Charles Marable, Chair, Deacon Ministry, Dr. John H. Curry, Jr., Pastor.
Thank you very much, Trunetta. This entire event would not have been possible had it not been for a resolution passed by the Macon County Commission, and it was sent to the Alabama Legislative Delegation from Macon County. And now we'll hear from State Senator Billy Beasley, Senator from District 28. Senator Beasley.
Good morning. Good morning. What a grand day for Macon County to honor the late Macon County Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson. I never had the opportunity to meet Sheriff Amerson, but I've heard a lot of good things about the service that he provided in protecting the citizens of Macon County for 20 years. His service will be remembered for generations to come because he set a pace, he set a tradition of honorable service to the people of Macon County. It's an honor for me to be here. It's an honor for me to have the opportunity to represent Macon County, the other counties in District 28 in the Alabama Senate. I've had the good fortune of working with the leaders of all the cities in Macon County for the last 11 years, and I look forward to continuing my service in the Alabama Senate in the upcoming election. It's a privilege for me to be here to honor the late Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson and all his family members that are here today. It's a glorious day for Macon County and for the state of Alabama, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Senator. Representing District 82, it's Representative Pamela Warren. She's also married to the former Sheriff of Macon County, David Warren.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Truly, this is a day that the Lord has made, and we have so much to rejoice about as we celebrate the life and legacy of Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson. I had an opportunity to meet him. I knew him well. My brother was one of his deputies who's with us today, one of his original deputies that's here, J.B. Walker, started off under Sheriff Amerson. You know, it's events like this, and especially to our young people, these are things that you need to know about your history, your heroes, the legacy of African Americans in the United States of America. Because if we don't teach it, you will not get it. So please take note today. I want every student in here to never forget the name of Lucius D. Amerson. Don't care where you go to college, where you work, always remember the history that he left here for us. Because this is why we're here today, to celebrate. And what I have that I'm going to present, and we passed, add on to just what Senator Beasley said, we passed the resolution in our last legislative day naming the part of 29 starting in front of the old residence, the Lucius D. Amerson Memorial Highway. So that is the official name that's recorded in the statute in the state of Alabama. Talking with the governor and letting her know, because as you know, we are in session, and on yesterday, we went into a special session. So Billy and I really, to get here today, because I think he's on general fund, I had a general fund committee, but I felt that there was nothing more important than being here today, so I let the Montgomery business go to the side today. But when I talked to the governor, she said, well, let me do something. And she gave us a commendation by the governor of Alabama. Billy, you want to come and join me? Whereas it is with sincere appreciation that Lucius D. Amerson is recognized for his dedicated service to the state of Alabama, and whereas Sheriff Amerson was an Army veteran who became Sheriff of Macon County, Alabama in the late 1960s following the passage of the Voting Rights Act. And whereas Sheriff Amerson was the first African-American sheriff elected in the South after Reconstruction, she put that in there, but correctly, he was the first. Not just after Reconstruction, but the first. Whereas many saw Sheriff Amerson's election as a sign of progress for Black Americans in Alabama, and whereas the National Law Enforcement Museum in Washington, D.C. will highlight the historical life of Sheriff Amerson as a shining example of the vital role diversity plays in keeping our great community safe, and whereas it is befitting that this state pays tribute to Sheriff Amerson for his loyal and courageous service to the residents of Macon County, as well as his impact in breaking racial barriers for the greater good. Now therefore, I, Kay Ivey, Governor of Alabama, do hereby commend Lucius D. Amerson on his service to the state of Alabama, given under my hand and the great seal of the office of governor at the state capitol in the city of Montgomery on the 18th day of January. Signed, Kay Ivey. Thank you.
Thank you very much again, Representative Warren and Senator Beasley. We will now have a bridge builders poem by the members of Sheriff Amerson's Sons Fraternity Anthony, Lambda Epsilon chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Please come forward.
An old man going a long highway came at the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built the bridge to span the tide. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We realize we have a lot of purple and gold in here, and that's also the school colors of Booker T. Washington High School and Omega Psi Phi. But we have two men of Kappa Alpha Psi, and both of them are sheriffs. So we just want to keep it balanced this afternoon. Now we're going to have the Honorable Louis Maxwell, Chairman of the Macon County Commission. This entire initiative started with the Macon County Commission. Chairman Maxwell.
Good morning to the Honorable Frank Lee, to Mr. Anthony Amerson, and all of those who are gathered here. We want to welcome all of the dignitaries in our community. We thank you for sharing with this occasion. We want to welcome you. My daughter asked me the other day, Daddy, what were you doing? Where were you? Do you know where you were when you heard the news about this man, Amerson, being elected sheriff? Well, let me tell you, it was 1966. I was in a gym similar to this in a PE class. We call it PE meeting. And the young man about to graduate that coming up May with no idea in terms of where I was going to go. No hope, no desire to do anything. But when I learned the news of this man, my whole life changed. I felt that I could do something other than pick cotton, chop cotton, and farm. This man had a tremendous impact on my life personally. Little did I know that I would end up in Macon County, Alabama, to serve this man in leadership position. I was had the opportunity to work with him as a member of the Tuskegee City Council. We worked together. I had a chance to know him personally because he and the late Burns F. Haygood Sr. took me under their arms and mentored me, would tell me how to become a leader in this community. And I will always remember that. So I am honored just to be a part of this activity. Had it not been for Lucius D. Amerson, I don't know where I would be. Probably would not be in Macon County. But I thank God that God allowed our paths to cross. And Anthony, I want to say to you and your family, thank you, not just for this opportunity for this program, but for the impact that this man had on my life personally. I want to ask all the members of the Macon County Commission to stand, because when we got here came, they were unanimously. See, the Honorable Miles Robinson in the back, the Honorable Mike Berry, you want to hear from him too. The Honorable Huffman in the back, this is Commissioner Magruder here. But I want to thank them for working with and making So welcome to town, all of these sheriffs. We are just so happy to see all of them. I saw one of the sheriffs, I said, when I saw him 7 years ago, he looked the same way. He gonna make me want to be sheriff one day. Now I'm not gonna run. I said, so he still is so young. So thank God for you. Sheriff Brunson, thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Maxwell. Back in 1988, a young man joined me on the county commission. I was county commission chairman, and back then we talked about a program such as this. I bring to you now the commissioner from District 4, Robert Mike Berry, also a former deputy who served with Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson. Mike.
Good morning. It's an honor and pleasure for me to be here today. This is a very special day for me. It should have happened many, many years ago. This man was a great man, and he fought for this county. I can tell you some of the stories that me and him talked about. I was with him only for 8 years in the inmates. First of all, I'd like to say all the former deputies of Sheriff Amerson, would you please stand? So me and him got in the car, and we was going to Phoenix City, and he was passing everything on the road. And I mean, I had got kind of scared, you know. And I looked up in the mirror, and I could see a reflection, and I looked behind us. There was a blue light going on. And I said, Sheriff, there's a blue light behind you. So he pulled over, side the road. The state trooper walked up to the car. He said, sir, I need to see your license. He said, fella, do you know who I am? He says, I'm Lucius D. Amerson. This is my county. He said, either you get back in that car and get out of here, or either I'm gonna put you in jail. And he said, furthermore, I'll get you transferred out of Macon County. And that was just one of the things I could tell you about him. But it was really an honor to work with him. And I'm probably here today where I am because of him. I remember one time he told me that I needed to sign up a paper to run for Macon County Democratic Executive Committee. He said, you might want to get in politics someday, and this will be a good start for you. So I become a member of the Macon County Democratic Executive Committee back in '87, I believe it was, and been on it ever since. And he was just a fine fella. He told me about time when he first ran for office that he couldn't get anybody in Macon County or the surrounding areas to sell him any political signs. And he had to go all the way to Atlanta, Georgia to get signed. And he had to get people to escort with him, keep from, and he put his life on the line for the people of Macon County. And his family also was straight. I mean, it was just something. He really stuck out for Macon County. And we really have let him down not to do anything earlier than we have. And I just want everybody to stand up and give Lucius D. Amerson a hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. While we are waiting on Chief Patrick Martis will be representing Sheriff Lucius Amerson's alma mater, the greatest university in the land, Tuskegee University. But I had a little story to tell why Pat is coming. You know, Sheriff Amerson, in his first years of office, had an opportunity to go out to a gentleman in this county who was selling illegal beverages, moonshine, corn liquor. And he happened to be of the other persuasion. And when he went out there, Sheriff Amerson, presented him as he always did professionally. And he said, "No, Ian, Sheriff is gonna arrest me." Sheriff Amerson said, "Either you come in peace or come in pieces."
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. On behalf of President Charlotte Morris, she extends her apologies for not being able to attend. We're in the middle of a board meeting, and as you know, during this pandemic, we have a lot of issues on campus to make sure it's safe, make sure that the facilities are up to par. I'm also representing the State of Alabama Police Chiefs Association, where I serve as past president. Dr. Morris, her sentiments regarding the ceremony was to tell you she believes in the town and gown relationship, as well as Sheriff Amerson set that vision into progress. As you look around, you'll see many police departments, many agencies. But just like Sheriff Amerson said back in his tenure, many agencies with one goal in mind, that's public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Mayor Lawrence Tony Haygood could not be here at the last minute, and I had to call on a gentleman I know pretty well. Representing the City of Tuskegee will be Mayor Pro Tem Frank Christopher Lee II. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. It is an honor to be here today on behalf of Mayor Lawrence Tony Haygood, Mayor of Tuskegee, and the entire Tuskegee City Council, which includes former Mayor Johnny Ford, District 1 Councilwoman Norma Jackson, and District 3, who is a member of the Macon County Sheriff Department, Captain Orlando Whitehead. If anyone else is here from the council, please stand. Councilman Whitehead in the back. It's a pleasure to be here today on an occasion. I know we were originally scheduled to be outside, but I think it almost happened for a reason that we're here today in BTW. And I think it's important for so many young people who are out here paying attention. You might not know exactly what's going on. You might just be glad to be out of class, but just know that you're witnessing history today when we're talking about Lucius D. Amerson. A lot of people ask, what is the impact of Sheriff Amerson? And to be honest, you're looking at the impact right here. Because of what Sheriff Amerson was able to do and the bridges that he really laid and the platform that was set, people like myself were able to be elected to public office in Macon County without a second thought. That's something that I do not take for granted as a young person. And again, I mention the young people because there might be somebody else in this room who wants to make an impact and be inspired by people like Chief Amerson. I look at our own sheriff, Sheriff Andre Brunson, who really, people talk about terms like community policing like there's something new, but people like Chief Amerson inspire people like Sheriff Brunson. And now, the next generation of change might just be in this room right now. There might be someone else in this room who might decide to run the sheriff one day when Sheriff Brunson decides to retire. There might be somebody else that decides to run for city council and be the next mayor or Mayor Pro Tem of Tuskegee once I decide to retire. Or there might be somebody here that wants to join us at the table one day. So we are glad to be here today to celebrate such a great moment. I can remember a young age with my father being so close with Chief Amerson, hearing about the stories and the history, and he seemed like a legend, like a old school cowboy or something to be honest with you. And the times before YouTube and videos, I can remember when there was a national news story and it feature Chief Amerson. So I'm glad today to represent Tuskegee. I'm glad that I can be a representative because I stand tall on the shoulders of those who came before me. So thank you and welcome to Tuskegee.
The next gentleman is the High Sheriff of Macon County, the Honorable Andre Brunson.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm going to ask my staff to walk up here first, but also I would like to have my sheriff stand up. They came from all over the state and joining the team. Everybody into black and white, but we only have, I think, 10 black sheriffs in the state of Alabama, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us here. Y'all give them a round of applause. Also, I would like the other law enforcement, my chief here, and all the other law enforcement. Hey, my good friend there from the AG's office, y'all please stand up. Got to recognize everybody. LPD is here, all right? Hey, how you doing? So first of all, I want to thank Booker T. Washington and the students here, Bree Sullivan, AJ for allowing us to have this joyous occasion here. Students, I hope y'all get something out of this. You have a wonderful school here, and we want you to do it and learn in the pride of Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson. He would be glad and proud of what this school has become and where these kids are going right now. So give yourself a round of applause. Also, I'm gonna start with this. There's not a whole lot I can say about Lucius D. Amerson that everybody's always said and everybody's already known about Lucius D. Amerson. But one thing I can say, for me as a kid growing up, he gave me a dream to be in law enforcement. I always wanted to be in law enforcement. And coming here as a student at Tuskegee University, Cap Appleside with my buddies here, and, playing football at Tuskegee, and then learning and knowing about Lucius D. Amerson was just a privilege and a pleasure, I'm sorry. But, I tell everybody this is a dream come true, and without Lucius D. Amerson, my staff and myself wouldn't be here today as the proud the 4th black sheriff of Macon County, Alabama. I want Anthony to step up here for a minute. And I want to present him with this plaque coming from the Macon County Sheriff family. And it reads, Macon County Sheriff Office, Lucius D. Amerson, the first African-American sheriff elected in the Deep South since Reconstruction, and honoring his family for your sacrifice, courage, and bravery, because without you, there would be no us. And that is so true. We talk about what Lucius Amerson did, but think about the sacrifices his sons, his wife, and his family made, the dangers they were in because he was trying to protect this county. We got to give them all a round of applause and definitely present Anthony with this plaque. Also, I know Lucius D. Amerson was the sheriff for 20 years. I want to present you and pin you with this 20-year pin. And hopefully, and I know you're always proud of your dad. I've talked to you on several occasions, always my friend. And I would like to pin you with this 20-year pin for your father on behalf of Lucius D. Amerson. Hey, y'all give him a round of applause. I appreciate that. And, great young man, great family, and I know we're all proud to be here. Oh, also, look, I got something else for you, brother. Got a name tag, Lucius D. Amerson. I'm not gonna pin you with that one, but I'm gonna let you have it, okay? And let you know, man, I'm definitely proud of your father, definitely proud of you, definitely proud of being the sheriff here. And if you you come down to my office, you will see pictures of Lucius D. Amerson all over the walls, in my office, in the hallways, and we all understand what we're here for. And as my frat brother said, you know, community policing is where it's at. Definitely read a lot of books, definitely looked at the way Lucius Amerson did things. And as a child growing up, I always watched Walking Tall. And if you don't know, Lucius Amerson is Walking Tall. I want to also thank Superintendent Ms. Williams, she here, for coming. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody. And also want to say, young people, read up on your history. You're in a place that history thrives. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, what a day a difference makes. I can imagine, David. Let him speak. Sheriff Amerson is probably looking down. He saw all these fine Macon County deputies come forward, and that years ago there were only 2 or 3 deputies and 2 or 3 cars. He was certainly amazed to see the force the Macon County Sheriff's Department enforces here today. Now I think about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and one of his speeches he said he didn't want anybody to tell him about all the degrees he had. He didn't want anybody to tell them about his accomplishments in the United States Armed Forces. He didn't want anybody to tell him about what he did and where he went to school. But the next gentleman, I can tell you for, I know over 20 years, he and I have been talking about recognizing appropriately his father. I can remember years ago at the funeral of Lucius D. Amerson, we talked about how he was not properly recognized. When Sheriff Amerson ran for sheriff many years ago, a lot of people were against him running. Some black, some white. But Anthony Amerson has made a commitment to his father to continue his legacy, to continue the history, so young people here today can witness and know about how Sheriff Amerson paved the road for many of us to serve in public office. 2 years ago, he was introduced in the National Law Enforcement Museum in Washington, D.C., an effort that was initiated by Anthony. Anthony has been a trailblazer for his father, making many paths and many roads to make sure that the legacy of Lucius Davenport Amerson is remembered. And now, I present to you the son of Sheriff Amerson, Anthony Amerson. Please come forward. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you. It's so good that we have this at a venue of higher education. I'm so inspired to speak to the youth today because one of you will hear the words that I'm saying and you will be inspired to perhaps go into the law enforcement career. I'd like to tell you that my father came from very meager beginnings. He grew up on a farm. He left the farm and joined the military. After joining the military, he went to college. After college, he got into politics and became sheriff. So it doesn't matter where you start in life, you can finish at the top if you are committed and you show dedication. Yesterday marked the 55th anniversary of my father's election as the first black sheriff elected in the South since Reconstruction, Macon County, Alabama. I come to you today humbled that you are memorializing my father's name. I wish to personally thank the following individuals for making today possible. State Senator Billy Beasley, State Representative Heather Warren, Chairman Maxwell, Macon County Commission, District 4 County Commissioner Mike Berry, Frank Lee, and last but not least, I want to thank a very special person, me. All right. All the long nights, this vacation, and countless hours I have dedicated to ensuring my father's legacy continues to live on. And that's no cap 100. Why are we here today? We are here today to honor the memory of Lucius D. Amerson, a black law enforcement icon. A lot of you all who are in this room probably were not even born yet. So what was America like in 1967? In 1967, the population in the United States was around 200 million. We're talking about one person out of 200 million people today. President of the United States was Lyndon B. Johnson. 3 years prior, the landmark Civil Rights Act became law, ending segregation in public places and banning employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. 2 years prior, the Voting Rights Act expanded the 14th and 15th Amendments by banning racial discrimination in voting. Thurgood Marshall was sworn in as the first black U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Unemployment in the United States was 3.8%. The cost of a first-class stamp was 5 cents. In Alabama, Reverend Martin Luther King led 3,000 marches from Selma to Montgomery in support of civil rights for black Americans. Lurleen Wallace, inaugurated as the state's first woman governor, and a 21-year-old student, civil rights and voting activist named Sammy Young was murdered in Tuskegee for trying to desegregate a white-only restroom. The death of Sammy Young galvanized the registration of black voters by student activists on the campus of then Tuskegee Institute, who sought greater representation to ensure greater protection for the general community. Here enters my father, still a college student and not particularly interested in politics, but was engulfed in the social change taking place in the United States at that time. His election and tenure in office could not be categorized as a cakewalk by no means. Many were intentionally betting he would fail. Unbeknownst to these naysayers was their inability to break the will and resilience of Lucius D. Amerson. I would be remiss if I failed to mention he suffered while serving in his position. He was involved in a near fatal car accident where he was badly burned on most of his body, along with suffering a broken hip. He was shot at and almost killed during a shootout at the Macon County Jail. And lastly, he was indicted and later exonerated on charges of committing police brutality against another black man. Through this all, he continued to maintain his strong ethical beliefs that all people, regardless of color, deserve equal protection from the law. He was emphatic about equal protection and enforcement of the law for all people in Macon County. He marked his tenure by ensuring deputies that served Macon County were from all the communities, black and white, male and female, to ensure fairness was given to all. Sheriff Amerson was elected and re-elected to office of sheriff in Macon County for a total of 20 years. If you knew Sheriff Amerson, you knew he walked with a certain swag. He was not seen like most of the typical law enforcement officials at that time. He liked to wear his Stetson hats, his sharp-pressed uniforms, dark sunglasses, and his signature firearm, Colt Python 357 Magnum. Most of y'all never knew in his downtime he was quite jovial and enjoyed listening to a good joke, gardening, and cooking. It was not uncommon to hear a few of his deputies outside of his listening space attempt to imitate his speech and mannerisms, all in good fun. In fact, some, and I think we heard Mr. Berry, was able at some point to almost imitate his dialect almost impossible. His exact dialect, almost impossible. Sheriff Amerson's election opened the doors for many other black law enforcement officials to be elected through the greater South and the United States. The challenges faced by today's law enforcement officer is starkly different than during my father's tenure. Today, nationwide, we are watching upticks in felony crimes such as terrorism, treason, arson, murder, rape, robbery, burglary, and kidnapping, to name a few. While we have new technological advances in equipment, we are still unable to address the root causes of crime, which include the need for more job training for at-risk youth, greater access to housing, proactive crime prevention, and improving surveillance around our homes and our businesses. While the problems and challenges we face in Macon County, the state of Alabama, and the United States of America are common, they are not uncommon to other countries around the world who have found solutions that work. By fostering greater engagement with our fellow law enforcement officials in other countries outside the United States, we can learn, transfer knowledge, and exchange lessons learned to improve our collective communities. Because of this need, the Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson Memorial will take up the task of promoting greater collaboration between black sheriffs in the United States and globally through the following proclamation. International Black Sheriff's Day, January 20th, 2022, by the founders of the International Black Sheriffs Association. In every community around the globe, sheriffs and law enforcement executives uphold an oath to protect and serve the citizens in their respective realms. All nations have a responsibility to preserve the basic human rights of all people, and when they do, societies will more likely to succeed. But throughout the world, too often, many black sheriffs are subjected to prejudice that diminish their effectiveness while being held to standards their white counterparts do not have to endure. Hence, there exists a need to exalt the heroic tales of black sheriffs that blazed a path where there was none. The International Black Sheriffs Association aspires to share these stories. One such story brings us here today as a defining moment for black sheriffs. In 1967, Lucius D. Amerson was elected as the first African-American sheriff in the Deep South since Reconstruction. The autobiography titled Great Courage captures Sheriff Amerson's inspiring story and riveting experiences while enforcing the law fairly and equally for black and white citizens in a racially segregated community of Macon County, Alabama. Sheriff Amerson's story serves as an inspiration to law enforcement personnel worldwide. Now, therefore, I, Anthony E. Amerson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as founder of the International Black Sheriffs Association, do hereby proclaim January 20th, 2022 as International Black Sheriffs Day. I call upon all citizens of the world to observe this day with reverence and gratitude to all black sheriffs and law enforcement executives everywhere. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hands this 20th day of January in the year of our Lord, 2022. Long live black sheriffs, long live all the men and women that protect and serve. We have a lot of positive things going on with the Sheriff Lucius D. Amerson Memorial LLC I started last year. We have some commemorative coins on sale for you in the back. We also have a recently done podcast on Spotify where I myself and Deputy J.B. Walker and Jeffrey Walker were interviewed about their experience working with and being around my fathers. Very good interview. We have information in the back where you can access that interview on Spotify. We also have other social media accounts that we hope that you will like, follow, and subscribe to. Again, thank you for this very kind gesture being presented today. God bless you, and God bless all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony Amerson. Thank you very much, Anthony. You know, I want to just say this. This whole journey started down in a little town called Boulder G, Alabama. And the Sheriff Amerson is here from Greene County, and there's a little story about 3 sheriffs in Macon County. Sheriff Lucius Amerson, Sheriff Thomas Gilmore, who is from Greene County, and Sheriff John Hewlett from Lowndes County. And in the words of Lucius Amerson, I can hear him now, JB, in heaven. Well, you know, more or less they named the highway after me down in Macon County this morning, and I paved the road for all of you all to serve. He's in heaven, glorified this morning, because he's certainly proud of this, and I can just see him now. Sheriff Brunson has another acknowledgement.
I want to call a very special person up here, somebody near to me, and I don't know how I didn't see Sheriff Warren back there. Sheriff Warren, please come up. Sheriff Warren was my boss, the sheriff before I got here, my frat brother, my mentor, just a darn right good person. Good to see you, my brother. And I want to let him say a few things to you.
Thank God for this day. Thank God for all brave men who get out there and serve their communities, their counties every day. For those of you who stand behind that badge, nobody has to tell you what it's like, you know firsthand. Just want to say that our sheriff, and I want y'all to join me in this and thanking him for his job. Now I got one other thing. You better take care of yourself. I will. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, the only living Sheriff of Macon County, the Honorable David Warren. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that just about concludes the program. We promised not to keep you an hour. We want to thank everyone for coming out and have a good day. We're not going to unveil the sign because of the weather, but ride down Highway 29 South, and you'll be riding down the Lucius D. Amerson Memorial Highway. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Have a great evening. Be careful.
It brought back memories to me when I first learned about Sheriff Lucius Amerson.
I was in a gym in PE class, and it inspired me while I'm up in Tuskegee. So thank God for this program, and thank you, Chief, all for supporting me.
Together, well attended, and everything about it was just phenomenal.
Very well-deserved program honoring Sheriff Amerson. Because of his position, people like me can also serve in those high places. It was a blessing to be here today and also to represent our president at the university.
Very nice program. Very proud of the people in Macon County. A lot of people came out. Lucius D. Amerson, man, great man. You know, he did a lot for this community. He did a lot for this nation. Being the first black sheriff since Reconstruction, man, you can't say enough about that. And we can't honor him enough with what he went through here with prejudice, discrimination, and all the things he went through to make it possible that we were safe here in Macon County. He made it possible that I'm here as the 4th black sheriff in Macon County. All that's possible because of him. So I'm smiling, man. I'm honoring him, his family, and everybody here in Macon County, man. Just a great, great occasion.
You got a cash out? I got a debit card. You got a card? Yeah.
Pleased with the program. It's something that Anthony and I have been talking about for years, Chief, and it's a pleasure to see this actually come to fruition. Sheriff Amerson was under-recognized here in the county, in the state of Alabama, and the nation, but this is the beginning of recognizing him properly.
And you guys sure did
show up at the right place for it too.
We did. It was an act of God. We had planned on being downtown, but to bring so many young people in today, Chief, was just a blessing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Program. It was a great day in Macon County history for our young people, so they can know that there's nothing to be ashamed of about being a black person. We have a rich history, and they should treasure it from now until the day they die. So I think this was most appropriate that we were able to have it at the high school and have the students here with us today.
I'm very pleased with the program. It's something that's long overdue, but I'm glad to be a part of it now. Chief Amerson, as I mentioned earlier, was somebody that was a big part of my life, even though I never got a chance to meet him. But what his life stood for and what he did for the people of not only Macon County, across the nation, across the South, for sure. It's something that, I stand tall on, and I'm very proud. The same way we celebrate the great, heroes of Tuskegee and Macon County, the Tuskegee Airmen, Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Lionel Richie, we need to put Chief Sheriff Lucius Amerson in that same category. So it's glad to be a part of the category.
Wait a minute. How about God forcing you out of the rain with all these young folks?
I don't think there was any mistake about that, and I think it happened perfectly. Everything worked out for a reason, and I was, glad that they were able to get some of the history that I was fortunate enough to get from my father firsthand, but they were, able to get today from this program.
The program was, he deserved it a long time ago. I thought it was an awesome program. I'm so happy that our students could witness this program.
Absolutely.
I thought everybody spoke well. It was a historic moment for me and a historic time, a historic moment for the entire country, especially Macon County. So I truly enjoyed the program and just blessed to be here to witness it.
It gave our children a bird's eye view into history and how the people who served in those roles, how they did what they did. Chief, this was a great program. And one other thing, Chief, thank you for keeping those issues in front of us. Thank you.
Well, I think it was a very wonderful program as well. The one thing that we have to do, and we have to continue to do, as Representative Warren just said, we have to continue informing our children, our today children. These are the ones that are being left behind, not knowing our history and how rich it is. So it's time for us to step up in a hurry and start letting them know that you have the, as they say, that there is no glass ceiling in Macon County. You can go as high as you want to go. And it's up to you, and I'm speaking to our children, it's up to you to decide to do that. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't, you're not supposed to have. You let them know that I am a Lucius Amerson. So this is what we have to do, and we have to keep pushing our kids towards this. And I enjoyed the program. I think it was definitely a blessed day in Macon County.
Thank you.